Sex is a wonderful, glorious and necessary component of an intimate relationship. It makes you feel good, it makes the other person or people feel good, it's great for your health and it's a great way to end, or start, the day. In an ideal world, every sexually active human would be having earth-shatteringly good shags, but, alas, we live in a world where Donald Trump was elected president and Blake Shelton is the sexiest man on earth, so it's fair to say things don't always go as planned. Sometimes they go very, very wrong. At best, bad sex is a bit gross but still passable. At worst, it will make you reevaluate your whole life. The important thing to remember is to not let bad sex discourage you in future. Embrace the bad sex. You'll get it right the next time. Here's 10 types of bad sex everyone will have sooner or later. First time sex. Losing your virginity might not have seemed bad at the time, but, in retrospect, it absolutely was. More often than not, it involves a lot of squirming and awkward prodding, almost definitely doesn't last long, and is likely unfulfilling. No such thing as beginner's luck in sex. I had sex for the first time on a kitchen counter, which sounds sexy but it essentially involved banging into the cookery utensils all night. I'll never look at a ladle the same way. Angelique. 29. Snooze sex. There needs to be active, enthusiastic involvement on behalf of all parties involved for sex to be good, but sometimes things get a little bit meh. You stop participating halfway through and start wondering about whether dogs understand each other when they bark. I had sex so boring once I was stared at my feet flailing in the air and thought, I need to book a pedicure. Helen. 24. Injury-inducing sex. A lot can happen in the heat of the moment, including headboard-inflicted head wounds, falling off the bed, being elbowed in the face or throwing out your back and, in some cases, a very keen fellatio, bruised vocal cords. Not a bad idea to have paramedics on speed dial. I've had a dude bite my vagina once. I yelped cause it was obviously painful and pretended to be sick to get out of there even though this guy wanted me to stay. I straight up ran to my Uber. Dolly. 21. Unexpected fetish sex. As long as you're consenting, legal adults, everything is allowed. When it comes to sex, we all have our preferences, and you should never judge someone's fetish even if it doesn't float your boat sometimes. However, when they pop out of the blue without proper warning, it can be alarming. So maybe let the other person know if you're planning on whipping out a pair of nipple clamps when you're getting jiggy with it. I once dated a guy who could only finish by coming on my chest. The first time we slept together he was about to orgasm, pulled out, took the condom off, straddled me with his legs and jerked off on me. With no warning. It was a very short-lived relationship. Misha. 29. Bodily fluids sex. Cum, vaginal discharge, sweat, saliva and period blood are a fact of life. They're unavoidable and nothing to be embarrassed about, but when the other person is dripping sweat on you or you get semen in your eye, not cool. We'd be going at it for so long we were sliding around like eels and the sheets were completely soaked in sweat. The sex was actually good, but lying in wet sheets when we were done wasn't very sexy. John. 27. Shower sex. Stop trying to convince us shower sex is fun. Just stop. My husband thought it would be sexy to sneak up on me while I was showering in the morning. Things started off well enough, but everything was slippery. Water kept getting in our eyes and we couldn't agree on the right temperature. It looks so much better in movies. Catherine. 38. Drunk sex. Despite what Beyoncé might have led you to believe, drunk sex is all but sexy. Alcohol makes your nether regions dry and or limp, being on top gives you vertigo, and your gag reflex becomes dangerously sensitive. And then you wake up with a hangover. Long story short, I threw up on him. Caitlin. 24. Fairly obvious disclaimer for drunk sex. To be consensual, everyone involved needs to be equally intoxicated and able to give explicit consent. Experimental sex gone wrong, whether you're trying a new position or introducing some high-tech toys. Sometimes trying new things makes you feel totally out of your depth. This one time my girlfriend and I bought cherry-flavored lube for a sexy night together. We used it everywhere. The next day she had red swollen spots everywhere. She had a bad allergic reaction. I had to take her to the hospital and explain scissoring to the nurse. Lauren. 25. No chemistry sex. This is the kind of sex where you have nothing in common but you're bored and have nothing better to do. Your heart isn't in it 100%. You don't know each other's bodies well enough, you don't know each other well enough to communicate efficiently, and it feels like your genitals are in two different time zones. I had sex with this girl who was 4 feet 11 inches, bearing in mind I'm 6 feet 4 inches. My penis didn't even fit in her. She wiggled around awkwardly for literally 5 seconds, came, she got her clothes on straight away, walked to my bedroom door, thanked me, flicked me a peace sign and then left. She was probably in my house for 4 minutes max. Reese, 25. Selfish sex. Good sex is about give and take, so if you make your partner do all the work and you have no interest in pleasing your partner, you will never be good at sex. Nobody likes a selfish lover. Too many times I've been with guys who humped me like a rabbit, with no foreplay, came, and then fell asleep with as much space between us as possible. Or just left altogether. Hannah, 27. More Metro's A to Z of fetishes, U to Z for urine, vampires, cannibals and cake. More pegging. The question why strap-ons are a brilliant way of experiencing sex. More 8 people reveal the best colleagues they've ever had.